Go.
Alright, so my speech is about sex education in Utah. And just a little bit of background, I'm going to be presenting this to a school board to show them the importance and how critical this information is to be sharing with our teenagers. So according to WebMD, there are about 200,000 births each year from the age group of 15 to 19-year-old girls. Why do you think that is? Well, according to the Washington Post, 20% of girls are uneducated, or 20% are educated, and they are receiving this from their parents or from their schools. And because of this lack of education, they are unaware, unprotected, and uneducated. So something that you will learn in our speech is I will walk you through what teachers are actually allowed to teach, how the lack of education is actually affecting our teenagers, and what could be a solution. So teachers have a very strict restriction on what they can teach about sex education and health. Their questions have, kids will ask questions, and they have a very fine line on what they can and how they can answer. That means maybe days later getting back to the child about their question. So according to the Utah Administration Code, teachers may not teach or talk about the encouragement of contraception or any contraception devices. They are only allowed to teach abstinence only, so no sex before marriage. They have very vague descriptions about the human body and sex itself. They can only talk about sexual intercourse, and it's just a very brief description and definition. They're not allowed to talk about oral or anal sex of any kind. Pretty much in Utah, it seems as though they're teaching a very shame-based teaching. So telling our teens that it's weird to have sex, or that they're really bad if they have sex. And sex is part of human life, and so to teach that and to teach them that they're weird, I just don't think that's very appropriate. Teens aren't learning the methods of contraception, so they don't know anything about birth control, and they don't know about condoms. How are they supposed to protect themselves? This vague description of an important part of life isn't teaching these teens this critical information. Teens are actually being denied this education because parents are actually trying to protect their kids. With Utah, it's such a religious-based state that I think the church has a ton of say in what is taught in our schools. And so who's protecting our kids when they go and have sex? Because, let's face it, teens are having sex nowadays. They're curious. They have raging hormones. They're getting into these relationships at a young age, and they want to do more than kissing. And if you look at any media, TV, magazines, Facebook, Instagram, anything, that's all they talk about is sex. So the situation is they're having unprotected sex because they're not educated about what's going on or how to protect themselves. This is causing unwanted pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases. They're getting emotionally attached, and they're having a ton of regret. So what could be the solution to this? Well, Utah is one of the only 3 states that must allow parental consent for their teenager to learn about sex. So all the other states still teach sex education, but they don't need the parent permission slip. And this is causing an issue. And so how I think that we can fix it, I think we need to educate our parents as well as our teens, and helping them realize that teens are curious and they are actually having sex. Making a change, changing the law into being able to talk about different methods of contraception and how to protect themselves. Even if you still need a parent consent, that's fine. We need to keep everyone's beliefs in mind, but our team's safety first. So not only as a state, but as a country, we need to come together to protect our teens. We need to make a difference and educate them. We need to keep our teens aware of their bodies, their minds, and their choices. So a few questions that people will ask they ask a lot about the restrictions teachers have. My husband's actually a health teacher, and he always tells me that there is such a fine line between what he can talk about and what the kids are actually asking, because the teachers' jobs are on the line. When a kid stands up and courageously asks a personal sex question and the teacher can't answer it, where are they going to find out that information? Well, they're not. So, and then people will also argue, well, what about teens who are not sexually active? Well, at some point in your life, you're going to have sex, you're going to be sexually active, so why not teach our teens now to get them prepared for what's ahead?